Hello and welcome to Eons of Battle. Jay here, and I'm going to show you how to make a battle rubble base for your miniatures. First thing you're going to need is some fun foam that you can pick up at your local craft store, and some cork. You don't want the big cork, you want the smaller stuff. It's usually sold in rolls. It's not terribly expensive. Next you're going to want a brush, but not a very nice brush, you know, kind of your junky brush. It'll probably be a dedicated terrain brush, and of course, you know, standard hobby knife. So the first step is to take the fun foam and to cut small, very small strips out of it. We're going to be making the bricks for the rubble, and so now that you have your little sliver cut out, just cut out tiny little rectangles, you know, in whatever size you feel would be convincing for a small brick. You don't need very many for one base. If you were working in a larger group, you probably would want more. And so to make the cork rubble, all you're going to want to do is you're going to want to tear off chunks, and you want to tear them and just make them very small. You're going to want to try to do your best to remove any straight edges, as you can see I did there, because it's a little less convincing when you have those straight edges. Now I'm going to add a little super glue to the base. I like to use the brush applicator super glue because it gives me a little extra control. And as you can see, I'm just adding the components to the base in no particular order. You know, it's battle rubble, so you can assume that, you know, it was exploded and, you know, it, you know, in similarly natural fashion, came to rest on the ground. And so now we're not quite done because obviously you can see, even though the rubble's there is nothing that it's standing on. So we're going to add a little bit of ground. As you can see, I've got my PVA glue and I'm spreading it on with that junky paintbrush. You can also use wood glue. It's a bit stronger, but all I had on me was white PVA glue, also sometimes called Elmer's glue. So now we're going to add some basing sand material. As you can see, I'm adding some thick or heavy basing sand at first. It's always nice to use different types because it creates a little bit more realistic finish. And there you can see I used very fine sand. And there. Now I've just primed the model and I've given it 24 hours to dry. And so now we begin the painting process. As you can see, it's sped up, but you can see I am dry brushing a mechanicus gray onto the base. As you can see, it's hitting all of the raised edges pretty nicely. As you can see a lot of the black underneath, which is good. It gives a lot of contrast to the model. And now I'm going to actually do a dry brushing of a much lighter shade of gray. And this is going to add a lot of definition to the raised edges like the bricks and the rubble. As you can see, it just makes everything a little bit easier to spot. And I'm going to add a smidge of an earthy tone to make it look, you know, like it's dirty and muddy and feet have been marching across it. And there you have it, a rubble base.